part of it is also looking at other sources of the violence. Because frankly, there's an awful lot of violence, and they're not using AK-47s, they're using cheap handguns.
All right, let's get this straight, Mr. Chance, for Chicago's record murder. Okay, probably not right. It's the people. It's the gangbangers who are doing it, the individuals. Now, get this. The Windy City has had 409 homicides this year. That's up 26% from the same year ago. Now, compare that to New York City's 238 homicides this year. That is an 18% plunge year on year. What's Chicago's problem, and what's this proposed solution? They're talking about taxing guns and bullets. I've never heard anything so silly. One city official proposed a tax of 5 cents per bullet. Right. Here now is Republican strategist, former Chicago radio host Lenny McAllister. Lenny, good to see you. First of all, the tax on bullets and handguns will do nothing to stop the murders among the gangbangers. Is that right? Am I just dreaming this up?
No, you're not dreaming this up, Larry. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of. It's another example of an ivory-towered, highbrow solution that's being applied to something that needs people to roll up their sleeves and really get involved in. But this is a lot of times what you see from people that are often removed, oftentimes the very far left, progressive, highbrow type of legislator that's removed from a problem that thinks they'll do something that will legislate some type of morality into place. It's ridiculous. Well, it's not surprising, though.
Here's the key point. First of all, the ammo and the guns are being bought illegally on the streets anyway. Okay, let's get that straight. Law-abiding shopkeepers selling this stuff have nothing to do with it. Let's get that straight, and they shouldn't be taxed for it. But what I want to ask you, because you used to live in Chicago, what is causing it? It's people who use guns that are killing each other. I guess they're kids. What is this about? Drugs? Are these about racial gangs? Why is this happening? Because it's not happening in many other cities, including my own, New York City.
Well, if you have conditions, Larry, where people can't get jobs, there's poor education, poor employment, and few opportunities, and that's basically in a generational type of cycle, you're only going to have certain options there. And Chicago is one of the leading capitals of the East when it comes to the number of gangs and the type of organizations that you have, and dare I say organizations. These aren't just a group of kids running around shooting people. These are organizations that make millions of dollars, and they are fighting for turf because it's the only way for them to get out.
That's
so
the key.
you have to create different type of
underground economy. What you're describing is this underground economy. I don't think it has a thing to do with the Chicago economy. I think these people are inside this underground. But what is it that they want? Is it guns that they want? Is it drugs? Is it heroin? Why are they shooting each other? What is the motivation? Because if you figure that out, then you'll know what kind of policing to deal with it. Here in New York, Rudy Giuliani, Bill Bratton, and others, they put it all up on computers, figured out the worst neighborhoods, and put the cops on the ground. Why isn't there better policing, and what is motivated? What is it that this underground economy is producing that's killing these people?
Well, you have two things going on, Larry. Number one, you have apathy. You have the same old, same old. So you have this type of approaches that are supposed to solve the same old type of problems. What are you going to get? You're going to get the same old that you've always gotten on the south and west sides of Chicago. Number two, you have to have an increase of economic opportunities, better education. You can't have the Chicago's teachers unions strangling the types of educational avenues that you have for these students. You got to be able to allow them to have better educational opportunities, more business opportunities, which will allow them to go from the underground economy to the real Chicago economy and move forward from there.
All right, so everybody wants to connect this to Obama. I don't know. I mean, Obama never ran Chicago, for God's sake. I'm not sure I can pin this on Obama. But what I want to know is this. You talk about schooling. I'm sure you're right, because there are cultural issues here. Do these gangbangers, do they go to school at all? I mean, you just had a school strike in Chicago. Do they even go to school?
A lot of these kids do not go to school. Their family and their structure is this underground economy, this undercover lifestyle. Therefore, a lot of these things are not touching them. We have to get them into the fold. And if you're going to start talking about taxing and spending money and different type of economic policies, you don't go after charging and taxing bullets. You go after policies that are make sure these kids don't get into this economy and this problem in the first place.
I think, Lenny McAllister, first of all, thank you for that. I just think you're going to have more cops, on the beat in those neighborhoods with these advanced policing methods. We had the same problems in New York City years ago, and Rudy Giuliani and Bill Bratton and a bunch of smart guys solved it. I think policing is so important because if you're killing somebody, you need to be in jail for life or whatever, and that's the real problem. It ain't the guns, it ain't the bullets, it's the people who are doing this stuff. Lenny McAllister, thank you very much. I'm a policing guy. Let's turn to our next story.